taxi ranks have been flagged as areas where cluster outbreaks could happen. South Africa is now, as I mentioned, in the second wave of the pandemic, and authorities are appealing to everyone to be extra cautious and follow all COVID-19 protocols by sanitizing and maintaining social distancing. Newzroom Afrika's Mnisi is just outside the Randburg taxi rank, joins us now live for an idea perhaps of what effect, if any, this is having on commuters. The morning where we've reported 8,000 cases. Linda, I see business as usual where you're at. Give us a sense of how people are going about their business this morning.
Well, Ayanda, essentially the idea is to live with the virus and make sure that the spread of it is contained. And as you can see right behind me, it is, of course, business as usual. But what is quite interesting to see of the taxis that we've seen drive out of the Randburg taxi rank, most of them are filled to capacity, of course, in line with those regulations. But interestingly, people are wearing their mask. I've been told by some of the commuters that some taxi drivers are quite strict when it comes to wearing those masks. So essentially what we've been seeing, a very busy morning here at the Randburg taxi rank, and strict regulations still adhered to. It's now in people's hands. Of course, not everyone will adhere to these regulations, but it is quite important that those who are leaders in these taxi rank emphasize and really ramp up the measures to make sure that the areas like these do not become responsible for cluster outbreaks.
Right. At the onset of regulations allowing taxis to operate even before operating at full capacity, we saw what felt like an incredible novelty at the time, really strict adherence to things like sanitizing as you enter into a taxi. From what you've been able to see from your vantage point this morning, is there still that novelty, that sense of, being sacrosanct about sanitizing before entering a taxi?
Not much, and I remember that as the restrictions were eased, a lot of people really became relaxed when it comes to sanitizing and wearing masks. And like I said, the one thing that has been constant that we've been seeing are people inside taxis that are filled to capacity wearing those masks. Not so much of the sanitizing, I'm afraid, Ayanda. But of course, this is something that even the minister has continued to emphasize, even during the struggles with them asking for the minister to allow for the taxis to load full capacity, and for, of course, taxi drivers to be given that allowance, that COVID relief fund that they've been fighting for over that period. You'll remember even during level 5, when there were much stricter regulations, when we were under strict lockdown, taxis were operating, transporting essential workers. But now everyone can, of course, go to work, and that means those regulations in terms of sanitizing and making sure that those who are waiting to go inside taxis are social distancing.
The real concern also involves intra-provincial travel as we head on to the home stretch of the year. Many people, I guess, taking that much-deserved break, considering just how much of a difficulty 2020 was. Any sign of those long-distance travels from what you can see?
Well, I mean, the declaration of the second wave, Ayanda, has many people questioning whether they should, be traveling back home. If you have conversations with people that are close to you, a lot of people are reconsidering, given the fact that, the Eastern Cape in particular has been affected. I know I've had conversations with people that come from the Eastern Cape, and they're reconsidering going back home. But from here, what we know is that we haven't seen much of the people that are traveling outside of the province. It will be quite interesting to see the stats, especially after this festive season, what exactly they say in terms of the number of people that traveled. But of course, if there is a decrease in the number of people that are traveling, it means, of course, there are less people on the roads, and we're likely to see less carnage on the roads.
Absolutely. Well, time will tell, as is the case with most things. Linda Mnisi, thanks very much indeed, giving us a picture there of the situation just outside the Randburg taxi rank in Johannesburg this morning.